Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the sixth episode of Point of View, a series of leadership discussions by Amazing Workplaces. In this series, I'm getting into a discussion with people in leadership positions from various organizations across India as well as across borders. The idea is to get into conversation with them to get them to share their views about the various aspects that make organizations really amazing. The purpose is to understand what drives leaders to their own workplaces so that we can delve deeper into the corporate philosophy and share with you path breaking ideas. Ideas that come straight from people who have gone ahead and changed their workplace to make them better, more inviting, and extremely thriving for their own people. Today, our guest on the show is Neeraj Lal. Neeraj has more than 18 years of healthcare experience and leverages his expertise in quality, leadership, operations, business development, and strategy. Hello, Neeraj. A warm welcome to our show Point of View. Thanks for accepting my invitation to be a part of this series. I'm really delighted to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Ekta. It is nice to be with you on this series and looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. So, Neeraj, if I may ask, you had a superfluous career journey from having held senior positions in various Indian hospitals for a number of current years to currently being the group senior vice president, Medicover Hospitals, one of the most respected healthcare brands in the world, which is present in 13 countries. So, tell us something about your journey and what are the key factors that you would attribute to your success.
Okay, I started my journey into the healthcare management world 18 years ago. I did my MHA from prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Bombay in the year 2001. And from then, my career in healthcare management started. I started my healthcare journey in Baroda, Surat, and Ahmedabad. I worked in various hospitals there, heading operations, heading business development, and then I was a PNL head also. I have worked in Rainbow Children Hospital in Bangalore for 4 years, and then I moved to Medicover Hospitals, and I'm leading the group operations here. I feel healthcare has changed tremendously in this part. See, we have seen the pandemic, and I think healthcare is the only vertical. All the doctors, all the staff are working, maybe nurses, maybe doctors, and paramedic. And I have seen the major shift, you know. So I did my MHA, and then I also become a part of Quality Council of India from the standard point of view. For the last 8 years, I'm associated with International Society for Quality in Healthcare, which is ISQA. It is a godmother of healthcare quality. I'm an international surveyor for them. We used to audit standards across the world, maybe US, maybe Australia and Canada. And I'm one among four members from India to join the ISQA board. So that is my short journey for the last 18 years into the healthcare.
Thanks, Neeraj. Thanks for putting this long journey in such a short form. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Neeraj, you've been recognized as a young and dynamic healthcare leader with eye for quality detailing and are one among the four Indian individual members of the International Quality for Society for Quality in Healthcare based out of Dublin, which you just mentioned. How would you rate the contribution of the human element in maintaining quality in the healthcare?
Okay, I think I believe healthcare with a human touch. Whatever technology you can bring into the healthcare side, I think human element plays a very important part in order to deliver quality healthcare services. See, if you see, you have to dependent upon doctors, you have to dependent upon staff nurses and paramedics. See, I always feel whenever any patient goes to an X-ray or goes to a lab for a blood test or a diagnostic, if a technician comes to you and say, look, my name is XYZ, I'm your X-ray technician, I'll be doing your CT scan and it will take half an hour. These are the merits and these are the demerits. Most of the time, these things is not happening into the healthcare, and people see healthcare, as a place where they feel very uncomfortable. They're not become a part of that process. So I feel human element is very, very important. So we have started this culture in some of the hospitals where we go. Whenever you address a patient, you stand and talk to the patients. So in healthcare, whenever patient moves from one place to another, instead of showing them to a place, go from first floor to second floor or third floor, somebody has to accompany the patient because the patient is coming in grief. See, like any five-star hotel or any seven-star hotel, whenever you connect to the front office executive, they're very, very simple. They connect with them. But here in healthcare, I think people feel it is a way of life. So this culture, right from the entry gate, if you enter to the hospital, a security guard had to address you, and he has that empowerment. He can show you the way and connect you to the various medical subspecialties what we have. So I think human contribution plays a very important role. I'll give you one example. Whenever any procedure or a surgery is happening inside the OT, I think patient relative feel very uncomfortable when these thing is happening. And whenever a doctor comes outside, everybody rush to the doctors. So we have created a counseling rooms where whenever a surgery or a procedure is completed, a doctor comes out and call all the patient's relatives and brief what has happened with the patient, what are the things he has done, and what are the demerits and the merit of the case, and how much time it will take to be get well soon. So I think these are the very, very important, and these things we have put in a CCTV cameras, because I think when somebody is watching you, you do your job well. And I feel quality is the thing when nobody is watching you. If you want to do a quality thing, when nobody is watching you, if you're doing the good thing, I think that can make a difference. So, and I think human element in maintaining quality in healthcare plays a very, very important role. So you can do anything and everything on digital medium, on social medium, but I think in healthcare, without the human element, you cannot do that. See, now in this pandemic, we are not shaking hands, we are not going close to each other, we are maintaining a safe distance. But in healthcare, still people coming close to you, because until as they will not check your pulse, they will not check your BP, I think they are still disconnected. So for healthcare, for maintaining the quality of healthcare, I think human element is very important, and we should, right from the security guard to the front office, from paramedic to doctors, I think everybody has to talk and talk.
Thank you so much, Neeraj. That was so beautifully put. And like you mentioned, it's become a way of life. So people really don't understand their responsibilities, in terms of empathy. And when you educate them, and like you mentioned, that you have counseling rooms where people are given that kind of information about their own closest kin and family. So it makes a lot of difference. So definitely, from the customer's point of view, empathy is actually very important, plays an important role in healthcare industry. Thank you so much, Neeraj. Tell me, Neeraj, now since we are still on empathy, what I would like to understand: empathy, profitability, and employees. How would you correlate these three aspects of quality healthcare? Because
Okay.
profitability is a very important factor. Yeah.
Yeah. We are all PNL heads. I think profitability is the key element. But I feel empathy in the workplace is a key to a more engaged workforce. I think which makes a better business, I feel in that ways. Nowadays, if you see, our life is becoming a more technology driven. You have must be seeing a video conferencing, Teams meeting, video conferencing, and everything is happening. And willingness and effort to listen and understand other people is the danger of being run over, you know. So what I feel, empathy can't be treated as an afterthought, you know. So instead we need to understand and appreciate, you know, the importance of empathy for both for employees well-being and for the business growth. That is very important. There's one survey which I was reading, only 31 percentage of Indians are engaged at work, and yet companies with higher engaged forces are 21% more likely to be profitable, and companies that score highest on empathy. So I think empathy is very key. We have got a process in hospital where we take feedback from the patients. So it has been seen, if you take feedback from the patients when they are in the hospital after getting discharged, they got very, very good reviews. But there is a culture here, after 48 hours of discharge, there is a call center which call them
Mhm.
and check about their experience in the hospital. And then we get to know the real thing, what is happening in customer care, what is happening in billing, what is happening with paramedics, so on and so forth. So we have a process where a call center, after 48 hours of discharge, a team of call center executive call to the patient, and we do a post surgery feedback call. So whenever patient goes home, I think, I'm sure, he or she must got problem, so we communicate with them, and there's a standard checklist where our this call center and paramedics used to talk to them, and they give various feedback on various services he or she has availed. And then we get to know what are the services we can improve upon from the billing point of view, from the doctor point of view. So this is very, very important. And I think there's a culture in our hospitals where we engage with the patient through online feedback. So every week a feedback mechanism meeting is coordinated by our teams, in where various vertical HODs, including a medical superintendent, a customer care head, a billing head, and nursing services called. And I request all the vertical HOD, whenever they get a feedback, a nursing head should call or a billing head should call, and then patient feel very, very happy. I'll give you one example. One of the patient has given a feedback on a roti what we serve during his stay in the hospital.
Okay.
So he talked about your chapatis are not very soft, they are very hard, it is not good. When we are in the hospital, our taste is bad. So why can't you have good chapatis? So our F&B manager called that patient and say, okay, we have improved now the roti making in the hospital. I'm sure when you come next for any medical issues, you will be happy. And he feels so happy okay, for a small feedback on food, which he cannot expect from the hospital. We are talking on those lines. So I feel empathy is very important to engage the employee. And once employee is engaged, like if you celebrate small things, then people become very motivated. And as a result, once your internal customer, that I feel employee become motivated, it will directly impact the profitability. So I feel empathy, profitability, and employees are correlated directly.
Right. So basically, what you're trying to say is that when an employee is empathetic towards the patients, there's a strong connection in what he's doing for them, right?
Yeah, I'll just give you one more example. See,
Yeah, sure.
artificial intelligence is there, right? So it is very difficult for us to see the moods of the patient when they're sitting in the OPD. So we have installed AI enabled cameras which capture three emotion. One is patient is sad,
Mm.
second is patient is happy, and third is patient is very much irritated. So this AI cameras capture these emotions of the patient while
Mm.
sitting the OPD, and this images goes to our customer care head.
Right.
So she see, okay, out of 100 patients, 3 patients are not happy.
Mm.
3 patients are very irritated. So she goes to the patient and check. I am the customer care head. I came to know you're not very happy. So can I help you? And he got shocked. How you came to know? And this AI cameras is capturing the emotions of the patients. We also do, instead of a biometric attendance, we take attendance through AI enabled cameras. So whenever you go and punch your, it is a tedious time. So AI cameras used to capture the attendance. So we engage with the patient mood through these AI cameras.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
That's something new for me also. So, I was just summing up about empathy. Uh, what you say from that, I understand is that when a person is basically an employee is empathetic towards the customers, they feel more engaged to the kind of service that they are providing,
Yeah.
and that leads to a good reputation for the hospital as well. And when, like you mentioned, that there's this feedback session, and even the smallest feedback, which considering the size of the hospital, roti feedback could be considered small also. And obviously in a patient's eye it's something very humongous, because his taste is affected, and he's not able to have the kind of food which generally is used to having. So if that smallest thing is taken care of by the hospital, then it really makes a lot of difference, not just in the experience but in the post experience as well.
Right.
Definitely,
Right.
I think that's really very interesting to know. So, Neeraj, now we are talking about profitability and empathy. So, coming to the quality aspect, we have actually come to know that you have won various awards and accolades to your credit. And the late you just recently won the most promising healthcare personality of the year 2020. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, how can great leadership lead to greater healthcare? I would like to have your thoughts on that. Yeah.
Okay. See, there is a saying, as is the king, so are the subjects, right? So I believe if you empower people with the defined responsibilities, they works. So, like we started a culture, when I joined, I started a culture known as measure what matters.
Yeah.
So what we did, all the vertical HODs, the business heads of various vertical and the expenditure head, every month they're supposed to come and talk about their business, what we did. Say, for example, a NICU nurse or a PICU nurse, they always become a part of a patient care management. So I have asked them in every measure what matter you come and you own NICU business. You come, okay, I did a X lakhs or X crore of business in NICU, and that is the reason okay, I have crossed the target or I have not crossed the target. And when she become party to this business, I think she will do a great job. There is a little bit of business in everybody's mind. See, talk about mother. She take care of business of home. She know what things is happening in the home, what is short. So what we started this culture of measure what matter, where billing head, a maintenance head, a marketing head, a customer care head used to talk about their department, what was their target, whether they have achieved, if they have achieved, and what are the good things they have done. If they have not achieved, what are the support they require in order to improve or cross the target, and share good experiences. A PICU nurse is coming, a NICU nurse is coming and talking about, okay, we did 50 admission last month, we are short of 10, but we did these many things good. And they get to know numbers. And as a result, as a team, like billing head used to come and talk about this month discount we have offered, this month discount we have saved, and we have closed the bill with this. And maintenance is talking about his expenditure. Okay, like we started a rolling trophy, whichever staff nurse maintain the budget will give a trophy. So it helped to engage the employee. And when they see okay, they are participant to the business. See, I always believe if you make the participation of these people into the process of various healthcare, they participate and they contribute. And I have seen, let's say, for example, marketing and sales team is a team which we spend most of the time outside. So I've asked them on one Sunday, come to one park for a walk with me. And in that walk, because these marketing people, if you see, they talk about sales, sales, sales. But it is not important. It is important what we give to them. See, what are the medical miracles we did last month? What are the things we are doing in the hospital? Like, say, for example, they should know what CT machine they have, how many slices they have, see, whether it do a CT scan in half an hour or 15. So these are the things which they don't know. So I've called them in a morning walk. It keep them happy. It keep them fit. And during this morning breakfast, Italy, sambar, that menu in the breakfast, they feel very happy. And then share this knowledge. So if you empower the people, if you spend some time with them, then I think they grow. They feel they are a part of a system, and when they enjoy their work, I think ultimately they love the company then, because I've seen most of the people do whatever you say to them, but when you ask them, how you have contributed to, like, 1 crore you have won, what is your pie into that 1 crore, they feel very happy. Look, I'm a part of this. A customer care head comes and, look sir, I'm supposed to do 200 OPD per day, I did 250. Okay, let's celebrate. We'll bring a cake and we'll ask you to cut the cake. So they become a party to that, and they feel okay, they're contributing to the business, I think. And then you create a leaders by this process. I have never taken a new employee from outside. Always, number two, number three position has been promoted to take the top job in that vertical. If we can do these small thing, I think it is a big thing from them, and they become okay, they're part of the process and they contribute.
Pretty interesting. Small things that you are sharing here. I think it will be very useful for people who are watching it. How they can implement these
Like
things.
our FNB manager told me one day,
Yeah.
how can I contribute to the business, sir?
Awesome.
So I'm not contributing the. So I told, okay, on every Saturday, since I was working in a mother and child hospital, why can't you start a food festival every Saturday? You know what? In this all these cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, and all, IT crowd used to come on Saturdays in a big number because they work Monday to Friday. Saturday is a off day for them. So he started a Kerala food festival on one Sunday, on one Saturday, Punjabi food festival on second, and they used to message to all the patients who booked the appointment. Look, don't bring food. There's a Punjabi food festival. Why can't you relish the food here? And people are coming in families, a mother, a father, a children, and they're coming. And his sales for a Saturday, instead of conventional 20-25,000, is going to 70-80,000 per Saturdays. And it is because of the salad festival, because of food festival. And then he started contributing to the business and he feel very empowered. Now he's coming every Saturday. Sir, I want to do this thing. So I think these small things contribute, and then I feel he can also become a part of the revenue of the hospital.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing such interesting ideas here on the forum. Yeah. So, Neeraj, now, coming to the current situation, in fact, you mentioned about it in your starting note. The pandemic has left many organizations crippled. We all know that. And while some have been able to not just survive but stride strongly forward, uh, sorry, I'll just repeat this, Neeraj. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Neeraj, like you mentioned in your initial note about the pandemic has left many organizations crippled. At the same time, there have been certain organizations that have been able to just not just survive but stride strongly forward. As a healthcare leader, what have been some of your biggest challenges during this pandemic, especially with regard to the workforce? And what changes do you foresee in the healthcare segment post the pandemic?
Okay. I think this pandemic has left all the companies, whether hospitals or non-healthcare, in a difficult situation. But I think for healthcare specifically, pandemic has created lot many new avenues which we are attempting to do. Say, for example, see, big hospitals, multi-specialty hospitals are not meant only for big mega cities. They're also meant for tier 2, tier 3 cities. So we want to have a video consultation with most of the patient, but somehow doctors are not comfortable with it. They want to see the patient. Thanks to this pandemic, our video consultation from less than 5% has gone to 30 to 35%. Now every doctor is doing around 30 to 35% of the total consultation on a video platform. So as a result, only the people who require a travel, they are coming. Number one. Number two, you cannot replicate the specialty across. So what we have done, we have asked all our doctors who are our referral base, who are sending patient to us for a hand treatment, they are jobless because the patient is not coming. The clinic has to be closed. They don't have a staff. So what we have done, we have asked them, okay, we will take care of a patient on a video consultation. We have sent our staff to those people, right? Like paramedic, like staff nurses and all. We started a pandemic anthem. Like every 2 hours, one of an infection control staff nurse, we have recorded his voice. Now it's a time to wash your hands. Kindly stand up from your seat. Please wash your hand for 20 seconds. So it become a very hit. Every time you enter the hospital, every 3 hours, 2 hours, you are hearing an anthem. Number two. Secondly, people are not coming to the hospital for vaccination.
Yeah.
Vaccination stopped, and I think newborn vaccination is a key. It protects us from so many diseases. So we have taken a community vaccination drive. What we have done, we have contacted the various secretaries and chairmen of various apartments. Look, our team of paramedic, a nurse, paramedic, and a customer care will come to your club, and there you schedule the vaccination appointment of your residents. So they are going to the clubhouses where one by one resident will come and we give the vaccination. So it become a very hit. We have entered to those geographies, those apartments where we are not getting patient. As a result, in the last 3 months, around 30 to 40 apartments we have covered. And as a result, vaccination we did. Thirdly, what we have done in the term of we don't want any employee, we should say no for a job. So we have started a sabbatical leave culture. So we have done like a department which is not facing the patient, like accounts, HR, marketing and all. So we have asked them, we have given them a sabbatical leave, like 15 days employee number one will go for a sabbatical leave, 15 days somebody. So nobody's jobless. Everybody's getting a salary. Of course, the salary is there for the 15 days and all. So as a result, every employee was on the job.
Yeah.
So these are the things which we have done. Secondly, lot many people were demotivated because some of the staff nurses working from 12 hours. So what we have done, we have asked all the staff nurses to stay in one of the floor of the hospital, and we have taken care of them, their foods and everything, because we need to feed them well because they're working for 12 hours a day. So we are feeding them very well. We are also giving them subscription for Netflix and Prime Video so that they can also keep them engaged with the outside world. So these all things, it is a war for us, at least for the healthcare,
Yeah.
COVID patient, non-COVID patient. So all those things we have done. As a result, our employees have come out with this pandemic now in in a big way. And we have divided the various shifts, like first shift unit A will work, second shift unit B. So by chance, one unit is exposed to this pandemic or this virus, the one unit B is ready to take over. Because if we export everybody to the patients, to the COVID patient, then entire system collapses. So we have divided into 2 3 teams, and we have created a task force where every day we used to talk about how we are managing patient, what are the fallacies, how to improve upon. So these all things combined, I think it makes passing through this pandemic in a beautiful way. And as a result, from the business point of view, since I take care of business, our video consultation has gone to 35%. Now video consultation is the way, and they're taking more of the people on a video consultation than for a physical consultation.
So many new things also to learn from the pandemic, actually. People have
Yes.
become so
In
agile.
fact, online training and conferences we did. Say, for example, all the doctors were sitting in tier 2, tier 3 cities, they have no job to do. We started a communication seminar. So what we have done, we have created these seminars, and our doctors are talking to them on a day-to-day basis. So we have connected to hundreds of our referral doctors across, and they're talking to them small subject, how to take care of yourself in this pandemic and all those things. So we have done so many virtual conferences and all, where they come on a Zoom or a Teams and they're talking to them.
Very interesting. Neeraj, I think this was a very useful interaction and so much to learn. Like I always say, every week there's so much to learn from your the experiences from all the guests that I have. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much, Neeraj.
Thank you very much for giving me a platform to share my thoughts. And I think your company is doing a great job connecting all the verticals, maybe healthcare, maybe FMCG, and doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Neeraj, once again.
And stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you.